Welcome to Podnutz Pro, episode number 18. In this show, we go over professional computing, small business, enterprise type stuff, you know, routers, servers, Windows 2003 server, Windows 2008 server, user management, all kinds of stuff. And it's good for those of you who want to take the leap, take the step, I guess you could say, from working on residential machines to working on business machines. And getting maybe some business clients instead of just the normal, you know, go to customer's house, run malware bytes, say don't use LimeWire anymore, and call it a day. So that's what we're here to hope you do, and hope you get a lot out of this. The two experts we have on to help us do that is starting with Matt Rainey from ah-computers.com. Yo, Matt.
Hello, Steve.
How are you doing?
Oh, doing good.
Good.
How about you?
Pretty good, pretty good. How's soccer these days?
Oh, soccer is soccer. It's got its ups and downs.
For those of you who don't know, because we always talk about it in the post-show and the pre-show, Matt is an all-star, not professional, soccer coach of, who do you coach again?
I coach two teams, both my daughter's teams, so a U12 team and a U6 team.
And these teams apparently cause Matt, you know, he exerts much energy during this job, and sometimes he's in a good mood, sometimes he's in a bad mood, and it always seems to be soccer related. So I'm just happy that he puts that much passion into that job. So it's been a good week or a bad week for soccer?
Yeah. Hopefully next week's good.
Okay.
We don't have many bad weeks,
yeah,
luckily.
That's good. I could tell with you as a coach, you're always going to have a good team. All right, enough goofing around. I'm just being doofus again. Lalo Nunez from BetterPCTech.com. Yo, Lalo.
What's up? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Man, it's way too much rain. It's rained the last 3 days in Florida.
It was torrential. I mean, to the point where I couldn't see driving home the other day.
There was actually a tornado that passed through I-75.
Really?
It sure was.
Where? Close to us?
I got a text, the message from a friend that was stuck on 75. It was a small tornado, but still.
Those small tornadoes. Who cares about them?
Who cares?
Okay. All right, Matt, why don't you get us rolling as usual?
Oh, ready? Can you hear me? Okay. Sorry. I mute for different reasons. Got a cold going on. You can probably hear it, so I might mute myself once in a while.
No
so
problem.
tonight, what we're going to talk about is a lot of people getting into business support, hear about service agreements and different things that they think they can get more money from businesses.
Okay.
And service agreements are great, and we'll talk about them. But one thing you need to be aware of when you're just getting into business support is don't start pushing the service agreements too fast. You get called in to a job, you're replacing somebody else, they call you, they want you to come look at it. You don't want to go in and right off the bat say, I have a service agreement available. Here you can give me this much money per month and I'll do all your work. They have no basis to trust you, to know what kind of work you do, anything. So service agreements can be a great source of steady income, but you need to prove yourself to that customer before you can expect them to have an agreement that pays you monthly or whatever it is.
That sounds like a great tip. It makes sense. So what kind of time limit are we looking at? A couple times you go and do a job, or?
There's a few different ways you can approach it. If you've done enough work for them over a few months, even not even 1 or 2 visits, but maybe a few months, and you may work it in to conversation, or when they call, certain ways. If they call, one way we'll bring it up is if a client calls and they want something done immediately, we can kind of tell them, I'll put in a work order and we're going to get to you as soon as we can. We have a few contract customers ahead of you. As soon as they're done, you're our first non-contract customer in the queue.
That's pretty slick. And then so they want to be okay, yeah. What did I say?
Yeah. How do I become a contract customer? You know, that kind of thing.
Right.
You're not pushing it on them. You're getting them to ask about it.
Do you call them contract customers? You say like gold customers or some word like that?
No, we usually say either service agreement customers or contract customers, something like that. We don't have any fancy names for them. Gotcha. Maybe we should. Gold. You are a bronze customer.
Bronze.
Hey man, I got a quick The question for you, is this also on your website? So in case after your second visit they went to your website, is there any type of details about being a gold customer?
No, there's not. There's no information about that at all. And that's another thing. We have a few hundred clients. We can't have, well, I guess we could hire more people, but we can't have everybody be a service agreement customer. A lot of times people sell service agreements just to get the recurring money, but you have to be able to meet whatever goals or service agreements you reach for them. If you say you're going to call them back in 4 hours and you offer this to 15 customers and you're a single man shop and they all call because some virus hits and they're all infected, you can't cover all that. So we limit our service agreements a certain way to not where not everybody's going to do them.
That's cool.
And we right. And our minimum, and there's a million ways to structure these things. It's really specific to your company, how many people you have, how many customers you have, how many techs available you have to go out. Ours, I can tell you ours is structured. We have an 8-hour minimum for a service agreement customer. And this is always in motion. It's fluid. We don't have anything written. There's no written contract. I don't like written contracts, first of all. It scares customers. You have this big long contract and you say sign here. To them it looks like a phone contract. I've got to pay how much for 2 years? What if I want out? Is there fees to break it? Is there, they don't like they sign enough contracts.
Right.
I don't like contracts. We do things verbally. I might email them what it covers and what it doesn't cover, or I will do that so they have it in writing, but it's nothing signed.
This is you brought this up before. This is very interesting to me. It's all verbal, huh?
It's all verbal, and I don't want, if they want out, they can get out. If we want out, we can get out. Plus, it gives us the opportunity to change the fees. Send them a letter, effective 60 days. This is what it's going to be. If they want to do it, that's fine. But there's nothing written. I don't like written. They want to leave, they can leave. And I've had plenty of times where we wanted to leave, and we just send them a letter. We're done. Find somebody else. Here's your password.
Right.
Now, out of all of your clients, how many of them actually ask you for documentation to protect themselves, to make sure that your rate is whatever, that it doesn't go up or down? I mean, do you have any clients that go after the actual contract aspect?
None.
Okay.
None. And we do work for law firms. Even some law firms have contracts, CPA firms. None of them ever ask for paperwork. It's in an email. They get it. They know how much it is in the email. They can see it. We can go back to it. They can go back to it.
It's amazed. I'm amazed by that. It just seems to me that these companies, don't they have people on there that say, "Oh, we got to get a legal agreement to do this," or nothing like that, huh?
No.
Interesting.
No. If they get a bill and it has our hourly rate on the bill times how many hours, or they're a service agreement, let's just say they signed up for 8 hours, their monthly rate, their hourly rate is whatever. They'll know if they're getting billed more than that. They can look at the bill and see. Let's just say your rate's $100 an hour for contract work. 8 hours, $800 a month. So unless they go over, their bill should be $800 every month. If it goes up, they can look at the detail. Well, maybe they use more hours that month. Maybe they're getting billed more per hour, in which case they would call and say, "Hey, I thought my rate was this much."
Right.
Oh, that's our mistake. You were putting the wrong level, whatever. Nothing's written. We don't have anything written. So that's one thing you can avoid. And I personally would recommend don't having written contracts. Have an email that you might type up, standard email. If somebody wants information about it, just shoot them that email.
What could go wrong by not having it in writing?
Right. And we get some customers who think some things should be covered by the service agreement, and we think they're not. And we go back to the email that we sent them and show them this is what's covered, this is what's not. And in our agreements, we're careful to say that these hours that you're agreeing to every month are for support for existing equipment, existing computers, existing servers, existing routers, existing equipment. It's not for new servers. It's not for putting a new router. That stuff's aside from the contract. That's billed hourly.
Sure. I'm still kind of amazed.
Yeah. Let me give you a scenario. What if we had a verbal agreement and one of your guys came out to my shop and, just to say for heaven's sakes, reformatted the wrong PC, and there goes all my, accounting information, could I hold you responsible in court because we don't have a written agreement?
All right.
No, I think that's more. We have insurance that covers that.
Okay.
I mean,
Right.
there'd be nothing that say no, we're not responsible because there's no agreement that you're going to pay me so much money for our services. I mean, they could prove that we did the work and that we did it if they wanted to, but we have insurance for that. Any work
Okay.
we do is covered by our insurance. So insurance and service agreements are something different.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm just fascinated with the fact that you don't have one person under a written contract.
I know,
You
and
know
that
what I
they
mean?
don't ask for it either.
Uh,
It's pretty neat.
No. And they asked, do we sign something? No, we don't have anything for you to sign. Now, there are some things we do have service signed contracts for, but we're an ISP also. We resell fiber internet connections. They sign contracts for that because that's different.
Yes.
But for hourly work, we don't have contracts for that.
Okay, and just to clarify for the people out there, you do send an email with stuff that what covers and doesn't cover,
So
Right.
something there.
right? So there's
It's
something
nothing
there,
signed. It's just an email.
right? But as a customer or a client, I have a general idea of what the services that you provide and for me.
Right.
Okay.
And how you structure this, it's all up to you. It's all up to you. It's all personalized. If you want to have a written agreement, go ahead. I just find more companies are leery of that than would want it because I've never had one ask for a signed agreement. They all say, we say, this is what it covers. This is how much it is a month. Do you want it? They say yes. And it's done. We put it in our invoicing system. Every month a bill goes out. Every month they pay it. It's way within the budget, how much they're spending, how much we're getting. Everybody's happy with that usually.
Oh, sure.
Another,
and,
another thing. Oh, sorry, Lola, go ahead.
But no, and I was gonna add that that's great. What Matt had brought out, a lot of businesses have a budget. So for an IT, they might have so much, and if they can figure out, okay, that we can hire Matt for a year worth of services, I mean, that's great for them. So
Right. Now, we structure our agreements so like it's existing equipment. There's different ways you can structure this. You could say, I'm going to have one blanket price and it's going to cover everything. Everything we do is going to cover. And you could base that, let's say they have 10 computers, one server, and a router. If you wanted to guess how much a month this would be, you could come up with figures. I'm going to charge $125 per computer, $500 for the server, $150 for the router. This is monthly fees. Add it all up, you get about $1,900 a month. And you could structure that where whatever you need, I'm doing it for this price. That's another way to structure it. If they add a computer, you add a 125 rate to cover that computer. So there's different ways you can structure it. It just depends on what you're comfortable with and what the company is comfortable with. For the same $1,900 a month, I could give them a service agreement for, let's just use round numbers, $100. Let's say they had a minimum 8 hours. They're only $800 a month. Some months they'll be below that. Some months they're over it. But $1,900, that's more than you usually spend. But if you think you can get it and they want that option, you can give it to them. One thing to be careful with, also I've said it before, no rollover hours. If you're giving them 8-hour agreement for 8 hours, you don't want those rolling over. If they don't call you for 4 months, they're going to think that you can go and sit there for a week.
Right.
Don't do that. Another thing that we avoid is the computer merry-go-round. And I hate the computer merry-go-round. Bob gets a computer. Well, Bob wants a new computer. He gets a new computer. He gives his computer to Jane. Jane gives hers to Mary. Mary gives hers to somebody else. One computer purchased turns into 4 or 5 installs. That I don't mind it when we bill hourly because I'll install the same, I'll hand it down 20 computers. But if you're on a service agreement, they may think that this is covered by the agreement. And depending on what you said is covered, it may be covered. So we found an interesting way to state this, and it's, if you want, you can. You could say the service agreement covers the installation of one computer with a computer purchase from us. So you buy a computer from me, I'll install it included in the service agreement for however many hours you have that month if you're not over. Now, what that prevents is handing the computer down, because if they want to hand it down, that's not covered. That's covered. That's a new install for that user. You may not want to structure that way. You may want to, but I think they should pay for that. It's really new equipment, and they should pay for it, because
Sure.
if they believe me, they will take advantage of you if they can. If they think, well, I think it's going to be covered. You can have 10 employees, and there's a pecking order. If number 4 wants a new computer, that person's not going to get the brand new computer and be better than the boss. In small companies, the boss will get the new computer, and he'll hand it down the pecking order. So one way to avoid that is to limit, one computer installation with purchase.
I see.
That's one way to avoid it. There are so many ways to structure these agreements. This is just some of the things that we do. And we're moving more toward managed services. So I think we might move to just a blanket cost. Here's what we'll do. We'll do everything for this price, no matter what you need. And that would include new equipment, because if they added 5 computers, we're going to add, let's just say we charge $125, we'll add $125 a month to the bill if they're getting 5 new computers. So you'll get more per month if they don't get rid of the old ones. There's just different ways to do it.
Okay.
And service agreements are good for recurring income. Another way that's good for recurring income is to start selling some services. I'm sorry, I skipped to my notes. I know I sent notes. I sent my good notes again. Service agreement. How do you sell a service agreement? If your rate's $100 an hour, you might offer them a reduced rate, say 10% or whatever it is. You don't want to go down to 60 or 70. 10%, 8%, 12%, somewhere in there. If it's a $100 rate, you can go down to maybe 85 or 90 for service agreement customers. You can offer priority callback. We have a callback of 1 hour, callback of 1 hour, on-site, mission critical for 4 hours. And Mary not printing to one printer is not mission critical. I can tell you that. Companies will think everything is mission critical. So you have to kind of spell it out in the email. Mission critical means server down, internet down, issues that affect the entire company.
Right.
Not Mary can't print to the printer next to her, so she has to print down the hall. She's got to walk 30 steps. That's not mission critical. But they think it is.
Of course. To them it is.
After-hour support for businesses. Most businesses, small businesses, are going to work 8 to 5 or 9 to 5, whatever it is. They're used to having work done during business hours. So if they want work done after hours, you can charge time and a half. But for service agreement customers, you can charge normal service agreement hours. So instead of time and a half, let's say 150 for somebody who's not on service agreement, you can do the regular or their $85 an hour rate after hours work.
Huh.
Now, our after hours work is not included in our service agreement. We give them the reduced rate, but it's not included. And we make that clear. Service agreement hours are for 8 to 5, Monday through Friday.
Right.
I've said it before. If you tell them you're available after hours, they're going to wait until their day is done, and they're going to call you. Because they think you're easier to reach, and you have more time because you're not working on everybody else.
Right.
So we like to discourage that.
For the sake of sanity.
Yes. Because it's the same thing. They'll think we'll work all night long. I have a problem. I want it fixed by morning. They'll call you at 6 p.m. I want to fix. I have a life. I have to sleep. I'm sure you're going to go home and sleep. I'm sure you're going to go home and eat dinner. It's the same thing with lunch. And working for businesses, you can almost guarantee you're going to work through lunch almost every day. I usually get lunch around 2 o'clock, 1:30, 2 o'clock.
Yeah.
Because if they don't want you to do work after hours because it's extra, they want you to do it during lunch. Can you come during lunch? Well, I usually eat during lunch, but sure, I can come work on your problem.
I love on this show all the things that Matt would like to say, but never does.
I do tell some clients that. I say, what do you do during lunch? I say, I eat lunch. Oh, well, can you come during lunch? Oh, sure, I suppose so. Now, most of it's done remotely, so I don't have to actually go.
Right.
But if I have to go, we'll go. But I'm used to it. I get lunch from 1:30 to 2 o'clock. That's just how it is. If you're going to do work for businesses, just get used to it. They love for you to do things during lunch.
Okay.
Now, good luck trying to get them to test it because you're going to do something and they're all going to lunch to test it. So you have to wait till they get back, have them test it.
Ah, what a pain.
Yes.
Oh, you're paying. You're charging per the hour.
Yeah, I don't mind. If it takes me 5 minutes and they go back to 1:30, I just wait by
Exactly.
the hour. Yeah, I don't care.
Hey Matt, I have a question. In regard to if you fix a problem for client A, what's the time window before they can call you back and they deem okay? You don't charge an additional cost because this still originates to the same problem. Did that make sense?
Yeah, and that's a good question because things that the customer thinks are related aren't necessarily related. When I go out and fix a problem or remotely, anything, I have them test it right there. I don't leave until they test it. So if they test it and they say it works, to me, it's resolved. Now, if fixing A breaks B, but if what you did to fix A was necessary and it just happened to fix B, it's still billable work to fix whatever happened to B because you still had to do it for A. And if you left or not, you still would have to spend time to fix B because you had to fix A. So that's billable work as well in my case.
Cool. Awesome.
And of course, you have the things like he worked in my printer and now the girl down the hall can't open PDF files, you know. And that's just talking to the customer. Well, they're not related. Even if it was related, this has been done to fix that. So now let's look at this. So it's all billable.
Sure, and
Unless it's completely your fault. If you deleted a printer by accident and they call you back and say, I can't print, well, you got to go install that printer. It was your fault. And that we don't charge for at all.
I gotcha.
Yeah. I had a tech today that went out to go do something. They did it, but they didn't do it correctly. So when they came back, I got a call from the customer saying, this wasn't done. Well, I had to send him back out there, and everything else that he went out for, I couldn't bill for because it should have been done the first time. And it wasn't that A broke B, it's that he didn't even fix A or have them tested or he didn't do it correctly. So he had to go back out. So that I just billed the same minimum 1 hour because that's how long it should have took. And that's a little different.
Gotcha. That's why it's important, like we always say, that documentation is key because if you document what you did to resolve the issue, if they call a couple of days or a week later, you can go, no, this is what we fixed. This is a separate issue. B, it's always good to have the test out what you did to the client. I do it all the time for my daytime job because I walk away from the client knowing that it was fixed. And if there is a problem, they're never upset or really mad because they know, hey, it was working when he was leaving. This is something else.
Right.
And compared to if you just left and then two days later, what they're going to remember, I have no idea why, is that you were the last one to touch it when I came back from lunch or whatever the case may be. You weren't there, so.
Yeah, I had a call today where the customer called and said, I can't get email. We have email hosting servers. So we host email for some companies. We set the account up a week and a half ago. I gave the lady the instructions on how to check. They do this constantly. They always set their own email accounts. I told her, here's a username, here's a password. She was able to set up 2 of them, but the third, she says she has issues with, it's not working. So I connect to her computer and she's not using the full email address. She's only using the first part, not the @whatever. The other 2, she used the full email address as a username. But for this one, for some reason, she just put in the first part. So I reminded her, you've got to put in the whole email address for the username. And I emailed to the password. Okay, well, the password's not working. And I said, read it back to me. And I don't know what she read to me, but that's not what I sent her. I said, are you looking at the email that I sent you? No. Okay. Well, do you have the email that I sent you? Yes. Okay, do you see that password? Yes. Okay, that's the password you need. Oh, like it just hit her.
What was she
So
looking at?
I don't know what she's looking at. So she typed in, she worked. I said, send me an email. She sent me an email. I replied back to it. She got it. That's how I always test email accounts. I like to have my test and their reply, just in the email so I can bring it up if they say it didn't work.
Right.
So I got a call. This was, I think, last Thursday. I got a call today from another person saying the same email address is not working. So he said it's never worked. I said, well, I talked to so-and-so and we exchanged emails from that account. So I know it worked last Thursday. Oh, no, it never worked. I said, okay, I have the email right here. You want me to forward it to you? Well, it never worked on this computer. Oh, so now, okay, so you changed computers? Yes. Do you have he had the full email address, but the password he was putting may have been what she was looking at because the password was completely wrong. I had to get, so in this instance, I didn't bill for the first one because I just didn't. It was a few minutes on the phone, remote
Right.
connection. I didn't bill for that one. I'm billing them for the email address. I didn't bill them for that.
Right.
This one, I did bill. And in fact, they called and they said they had the work order number from last week where they were having issues. It was, I don't know, work order 123, let's just say. They said, yeah, we had an issue with work order 123, and now we're having the same issue. So in my notes for the issue, work order 123, I put no charge, zeroed it out. They still get a copy of that in their bill. It shows that they called, I helped them, no charge. This one, they specifically referred to work order 123. So in my notes, I put connect to computer, use password given to them in work order 123, and it worked. So they want to reference work orders. I did it too and charged them half an hour. So they can look at the other one and see where they wasn't billed. And I gave them the password. This is the third time, second remote connection to set up one email address. So
Were they referencing the work order because they wanted it to be free?
they might have been.
Okay.
They might have been. And that's why I, in my notes, put see work order 123. They weren't using the password supplied to them. Gave them the correct password again. Tested, sending, receiving, half-hour minimum charge. So
Cool.
and they may complain about it, they may not, but we'll see. I don't mind. And get used to it. Business customers complain a lot.
Hey, Matt, I have a question for you. I'm just full of questions this episode. You said that for your contract clients, you have a response time of 1 hour. Does the application tell you it's been over an hour, or does your secretary let you know, hey, you haven't called this person within the hour? How do you gauge that so you always provide an hour to each?
Well, yeah, it's an hour callback. It's not an hour's time of the resolution.
Right,
Just
right.
an
I'm
hour.
sorry.
It's just an hour callback.
Right.
But when the call comes in, we've been using Track It, and that has a timestamp on it. We're moving to ConnectWise, which does have SLA, so I'll get an alert if that customer calls in.
SLA?
And service level agreement.
Okay.
Service level. So if they call in, I can put in there, this client should have a 1 hour callback. And if there's no note within that hour, it's going to send me an email because I'm the service manager. I direct all the work orders. I'll know that nobody called them back, and we'll do it right away. We've never had people complain, even if we meet like an hour and 10 minutes, hour 20 minutes. So what they don't want for our service agreements is if they call at 10 a.m., they don't want to call back at 4 p.m.
Right.
They want to at least know I'm looking at it. We're getting to you. You're on the top of our list, that kind of thing. So no one's ever complained
Jeez.
about the response. No one's ever complained. There's plenty of things to complain about, but not about the response. And again, sometimes if they call, and I love this, we're clear 8 to 5 Monday through Friday, 8 to 5, and that only counts if they call the office. Sometimes they'll email me directly and they think that the hour callback applies. That does not. We're clear that in order for these time limits to go into effect, you've got to call the main number. Because I may be on a job that's going to last 2 days. If they email me, I may not even see it to be in a position to call them back within an hour or
Sure.
be on site for 4 hours. So
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, they've got to call the main office if they want that response because there's 6 or 7 of us. They email one tech directly, they're not going to get it.
Right.
And they have complained about that before. Well, I emailed you yesterday. I understand. And I replied to you to call the office if you needed immediate help because I was on a job. Oh, well, I didn't read that email. Okay. Well, I'll remind you now that you need to call the office for, pretty much every call should be going to the office, not to me directly. So,
Yeah, and you'll find that I use email to its fullest the potential because that's how people communicate back and forth. But you'll find people don't read their email. I've had people be upset at me, tell me, just chew me out, and I just patiently wait. I sip my coffee, and I'm like, yeah, I sent you an email, and they go, oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, should have read your email.
yeah. I usually get with the customer the way they contacted me. So if they email, I'll leave them back. If they call me, I'll call them back. Whatever method of communication they use to contact me, that's how they're going to get a response back.
How about if I send you a letter to the post office?
I will definitely send you a stamped letter back just because you did that.
I'll fax it.
Fax it, yes.
Yeah, however because if they fax me, I might assume their phones don't work, their email don't work, but their fax machine works. So I'll fax them back.
Right.
Yeah, and that's a good point because I do know some people just don't like email. They rather hear a voice on the other end of the phone. So that's definitely a good tip to communicate back whichever method they had communicated to you. So that's really a good tip.
It is.
This is a funny story about phones. Speaking of somebody wanting to hear a voice, I had a customer call a while back, and his voicemail, God, I should have saved it. His voicemail says something like, hello, and he called during lunch. Let me tell you this, like 12:30 at lunch. Our receptionist goes lunch from 12 to 1, so we don't answer phones between 12 to 1, and our customers know that. Anyway, he called at like 12:30, and he says, hello, this is so-and-so. If this is the kind of response I'm going to get from your company, I want to cancel my service with y'all. I don't want any more work done from y'all if I get an answer machine. And he was mad. And so I called him back and I said, oh, I'm sorry to hear that you're not going to let us do work for you anymore. You can ask why. Is there some kind of expectations we didn't meet, or was there some problem with the service we provided? And he said, oh no, because I got an answer machine. I don't like answer machines. Say, well, we were at lunch or out of the office at the time that you called, and the answer machine is there so we don't miss any calls. And he has an answer machine at his office. He's got voicemail, but he didn't like getting our voicemail at 12:30. So the fact that I called him back after lunch, he said, well, I kind of flew off the handle. You can just ignore that. Okay.
I love that quote. What does that mean, fly off the handle?
I feel his pain. I don't like getting answering machines for service. I hate it. I hate when I have something wrong and I want it fixed right away, and I get a machine because I just don't know when they're going to call me back, or if they get it, or if they check their messages. But if it was clear that from 12 to 1 you guys don't answer your phones, that's just him missing that point.
Yes, but I will also say if I call anyone from 12 to 1, if it's a business, I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt that you're probably out on lunch. But I will call back at 1:15, at 1:20, and somebody better answer the phone.
Good point. Good point.
Yeah, and I like to look at my call log in my phones, and I'll see calls at 12:15, 12:17, 12:19, 12:21 from the same person. Not once they leave a voicemail, but they just calling back constantly. I love it. It's funny. But I thought it was funny that he was just going to sever all ties with us because he got our voicemail during lunch.
No.
I loved it. And I knew why he wanted to cancel it, but I wanted him to say it.
Just not like it plays dumb.
Yeah, and sometimes, I do it. To hear him when I said, is there some problem with the service provided, or do we not meet expectations? Is there anything we can do to better service your account if you choose to come back to us? Oh, I just want to talk to somebody when I want to talk to somebody. I said, I understand. So you might not want to call between lunch or before 8 a.m. or after 5 p.m. if you want to have. We do have a full-time receptionist She answers the phone between 8 a.m. and noon and 1 p.m. and 5 p.m., Monday through Friday, excluding holidays. Anytime you call during those hours, you will talk to a person. Oh, okay, okay. That's
Yes,
funny.
and Matt brings up another good point here. Don't ever give your personal cell phone number or your work cell phone number to a client, because you will be married to that person. Trust me. They will not call the main hotline. They won't call the receptionist. They will call you
Right.
every single time.
Good
So,
point.
That's right, they will. And I don't know how, but clients have gotten my cell phone before. And I know one of them, my wife, gave them the cell phone number. They looked me up in the phone book. They called my house and they said, "Hey, is Matt around?"
wow.
My wife said, "No, he's at work." "Oh, I lost his cell phone number. Do you have it?" "Oh, yeah, here it is." I get a call from the client on my cell phone, and I don't know who it is. And normally I don't answer my cell phone, if I don't know who it's from. But early days, I answered it. "Hey, Matt, this is so and so. I got an issue with something going on." Who is this? "This is so and so from whatever company." I said, "Okay, I'll be happy to help you. I'm on a job right now. Can I ask how you got this number?" "Oh, your wife gave it to me." I said, "Okay, okay. How did you talk to my wife?" "I called your house." "Okay, fantastic. I'll be happy to give you a call back when I'm helping another client right now." And I said, "I'll be happy to call you back when I get back to my office. We can discuss a service agreement. If you want to call my cell phone, that's fine. We can discuss service agreements. Otherwise, you'll need to call the main office." So he never called my cell phone again because he didn't want to pay service agreement rates. He didn't want the bulk hours.
Right.
Exactly.
He
Because
called once in a while.
I mean, because if you have experienced this through having your own business, or even if you work in an environment like I do, or my past jobs where you work in a multi-man or woman IT department, if you give them your own personal phone or even your desk that phone number, they will call you every single time and bypass the help desk system, the help desk department. It'll happen, trust me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely. Definitely. Now, apart from the service agreements for recurring income, and when you're dealing with businesses, it's nice to get the recurring income. It does take a little bit of money for some of these things, but it pays for itself quickly. And you can be creative with service agreements as well. Let's say you sell a router. They might not want bulk hours, but let's say you sell them a WatchGuard router. Well, if they need a WatchGuard router, chances are there needs to be configuration done in it. There's software updates. If they have web blocker to block websites, or an SMTP proxy or HTTP proxy where you're filtering websites, there's going to need to be some management done in that router. So if you're selling them a good router, you may just sell them a service agreement to cover the router. You can tell them, for $150 a month, I'll take care of all the router management that you need. Anything you need for the router is covered. This is separate. It can be separate than your service agreement for the hours. If they don't want that, they may want this. Sell them something
Right.
if possible. Now, if it's a little company, 4 computers, and they got a Linksys router, just using internet, obviously you're not going to sell them a router management service. Well, unless you're a good salesman, but they don't need it. They don't need it.
Right.
So you can sell a service to clients where you can be the central contact for all hardware and software vendors, which is separate from a service agreement. If they have a problem with their ISP, they call their ISP. They work with their ISP. ISP may tell them, "No, it's not us, it's your router." Then they call us. Look at the router, test the router. "No, it's not us, it's your ISP." If you sell them a service to where you're the central tech contact, and it may be a small fee, maybe a few $100s a month.
They don't have to go through those loops.
Right. They just call you. They pick up the phone, they call you. "My internet's not working." You may have to set up some things in advance. You got to call and add. They have to add you as a contact to their ISP. They have to add you to the support call for QuickBooks or Peachtree as a contact, so you can call in. But the point is, they only call you. They don't have to be given the runaround by tech support for other hardware and software vendors.
Right.
They call you. You take care of it. You take ownership of the problem. You get it resolved. And some companies will like that. They don't want to have to know who to call. My email's not working. Who do I call? Do I call the internet people? Do I call you? Who do I call? Well, you just call me for everything
Right.
with this fee.
Right. Makes it simple.
It makes it simple. So some companies like that. You can sell services, spam filtering, email hosting, web hosting. Now we have our own servers. This is more expensive. We have our own servers that we do spam filtering, email hosting, web hosting, but it pays for itself very, very fast. Very fast. All you need is usually these are appliance based. So you can buy an appliance for spam filtering like a Barracuda or email web hosting, a Plesk box. You need a good internet circuit and a box. It'll pay for itself in a couple of months. And after that, you could be making thousands of dollars a month just on the recurring fees for this kind of stuff. Reseller accounts, when you register a domain name, you might tell them go to GoDaddy or go wherever, HostGator. We're our own reseller. I can register domain names. I can set up DNS servers, DNS hosting. So they go through me. So I get the recurring money for all that. SSL certificates. I sell them through my reseller account. I don't go somewhere else and get them and pay
You
regular
guys have
price.
a web server on site that hosts their sites?
We have a separate office, our network operations center, we call it. We have our NOC, and we have servers in there for spam filtering, email hosting, web hosting, all that stuff. We have servers for all that.
Cool.
It used to be at our offices. We moved offices. We have our own building now. And we just kept one office in this building.
It just has a bunch of computers in it.
It's just a bunch of servers in it. It's got a real good internet connection in there, on fiber connection, big pipe. It can host everything we need. So
how much do you need for something like that, up and down?
We have, and I forget the maximum. We have a bunch of pipes coming in. It's not just one line.
Okay.
It's a bunch of fiber accounts. So, and we're a fiber reseller. So we got a bunch of stuff coming in that we can use. And it's whatever the maximum of the fiber account is. I forget what it is, but it's pretty big.
Okay.
Now it doesn't need to be that big for spam filtering, email hosting, web hosting. That stuff's not that much. The web hosting we do, it's mainly static pages. It's not these huge.
Right. I got you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not Amazon.
Right. Exactly. It's smaller sites for small businesses. They don't have really big needs for this stuff, but the server can handle it, and you can sell them a package. It's this much for this much base. It's this much for this much base. Now, GoDaddy and these kind of places, they might say unlimited bandwidth, this kind of stuff, but you can offer the same thing if you have the pipe, but you can also upsell it. You can limit them and upsell it. People are willing to pay more if it's hosted locally and they know who to call. If GoDaddy's $20 a month for something, if we're 30, they don't care.
Right.
They don't want to go do the research. They don't want to call GoDaddy or whoever. They want to call us. They know who we are. They know our faces.
Right.
They know where we work. They can come talk to us. That's worth a little bit more for most of our customers. We have some customers that leave for cheaper web hosting, but they always have issues, and some of them come back. It's a good way to get recurring money every month. You just get a check in the mail. You bill them, you get a check. They're used to paying it. You might charge somebody, if it's $2 a mailbox for spam filtering and they've got 50 accounts, well, you get $100 a month from them. If the box only costs you $500 total, that's just one domain you're getting $100 a month from. If you're hosting 200 domains with a couple thousand users, it can make a lot of money off of that just from that one box. So reseller accounts, sell things. I don't like it when somebody, and that's one thing I don't like about Gmail. Somebody says, just go get a Gmail account. I'm never going to recommend that. One, we do web hosting and email hosting. I'm going to recommend mine over theirs.
Sure.
We also starting to do hosted exchange services. So if they want something more than basic email, POP or IMAP, we can do exchange hosting, full active sync, calendar syncing, contact syncing, all that. A little more expensive for the customer, but you get a lot more out of it too. Yeah. But that's a good way to make recurring money on businesses. It's not the home users, you go in, you do a job, you're done.
Right.
You want to have something you get recurring with these businesses. to where you just get a check. You might not even see them for the whole month. We have some service agreement customers, I don't talk to them for months, but they pay, and they pay because when they call, they want to talk to us. And I might be getting $800 a month from some of these clients, and I don't even talk to them, but they want it.
It's like,
So I'm not
it's like
gonna,
insurance. You pay for something that you think you may need.
yeah. Now, one thing I've seen issues with is people moving from part-time to full-time computer work, and a lot of people may be in this boat.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing work part-time, you're probably, for businesses that is, I'm sure you're charging a low hourly rate. Let's just say the same person that was charging $100 an hour, you may be charging $45 an hour. Now, that's not because maybe you may not know as much. It may be just because the only available during certain hours of the day, after hours, weekends, that's not worth as much to the customer. They have to wait for you.
Right.
So in exchange, they pay a lower rate to wait for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you make the move to full time, you have to plan ahead what you're going to do with these customers. You can't keep charging, if you go full time, you can't keep charging these customers $45 a month. You can't. You're not going to make any money.
An hour? An hour.
And I'm sorry, I'm an hour. You can't do it. You got to have whatever your normal rate is, you want to try and push them up to that. Now, some people say, well, they should be grandfathered in, and that's fine. You could say, I'm going to grandfather, here's your choices. I'm going to grandfather you in at the $45 rate for the same availability you had before. Meaning, yes, I'm full-time, but you're going to wait till I have free time because that's the agreement we had before.
Right.
If they're only with you because you charge $45 an hour, they're going to leave anyway. They don't want to pay a full rate.
Right.
And you don't want those customers in the long run anyway.
Right.
They're good to get started, but if they're only with you for $45 an hour rate, cheap rate, they're going to leave anyway.
Yes,
So-
and I totally agree. And sorry to cut you off, man.
No.
And if you don't believe them, before you venture into like the full time, call around, act like you're just a client, pretend, start making. I have a small business. I got 10 PCs, and just look at the quotes that you're getting. And so $44, I mean, if you're doing it the full time, you're just wasting your own time, and you're leaving a lot of money on that table. And that's why I had to step away from my business, because my daytime gig pays me pretty decent, but I wasn't available to my clients after 4 p.m. and they needed someone throughout the day. So there was too many of them, so I had to close down shop. But what Matt's saying is very true. Bill what you're worth, because other people are billing a lot more and they're not worth that money. So
Right. Good point.
And one reason to bill more is you got to plan for growth. It might be more profit now. When you get bigger and you have to add more overhead, you don't have to change your rates down the road. If you start out saying, this is my rate's $100 an hour. As you grow, add employees, possibly if you need to buy servers to resell, you've got some money coming in to cover that. It's easier to start off at one rate and go up a little bit at a time every couple of years, $5, $10, whatever. You don't want to jump from start your business at $45 a rate, $45 an hour, and the next you go to 90. So when you make the move to full time is when you want to jump your rate up. And the people you've been doing work for, you can tell them, this is my rate now, I'm full time. This is my rate now because I'm full time and I'm better able to serve your company when you need help. The $45 hour rate wasn't serving you as well as it could because as many times you've been down and had to wait for me. Now this rate allows me to be there for you when you need me.
exactly, and people will pay if they want your services. People will pay. After I had closed down my business, there were three clients that kept calling me. I said, look, I really don't have the time because my full-time job was taking a lot of time. I said, so then I threw it out there. I said, okay, if I do work for you, it's going to be this rate. And I doubled it, expecting them to say no. In a blink of an eye, sure. And then one guy, he actually, just because he's kind of a hard customer to deal with. So I tripled my quote on him, hoping that he would say no. He goes, not a problem. If people want you to do the work, they will pay that $90 an hour. I'm just saying.
That's right. And they're the people who know that if you raise your rates, they stay with you, don't complain about it. You know it's a good customer.
Right.
They're
Exactly.
happy with your work. They're going to refer other people to you, so you get more than that. It's somebody who complains constantly about the fees. They're probably not going to refer you, and if they do, the kind of people they know are probably going to complain also.
It's true.
So you kind of want to scare them away. If they're willing to pay it, pay it. It just beware of charging too little to business customers. Business customers know how much their past people have charged, and if they don't like your rate, like Lyle said, they can call around and get quotes. I've had a company call me, they got my rate. I did a little work for them, and I know one of the girls that worked there, they hadn't called in a while. And I say, hey, what's going on? Well, she's looking for somebody else, but everyone she calls is $30 or $40 an hour more than y'all. I say, well, and they're one-man shops. We have full-time people, 6, 7 people, receptionists, and we're cheaper. So one, they're charging too much, I think. And there's no reason in my area to charge $150 an hour. We're only charging 95, and I think, and we're a little below other companies, but I think the other ones are a little bit high, if you ask me, around here. But she couldn't find anybody cheaper than us. And in the end, she went with one of these trade places that do work on trade. So instead of money, she's just trading
Services.
whatever services she offers for computer guys. Now, he was charging like $150 an hour trade dollars. And I told the friend that worked there, it's still money. She's still, I mean, I know it's not real money, but if this was a customer of yours already, and now you're just subtracting $150 an hour for the services they provide,
right.
you're losing that money. You're not getting that money in.
That's right.
So it all boils down to real money, but she didn't have to write a check when he came or when he sent a bill. And to her, that was better, even though she's told me he's not as good. He takes forever to get here. He breaks things. He couldn't fix everything. That's why we had to call you a few times.
He breaks
But-
things.
Yeah. I think I might have told you before. He looked at it, he looked at the computer for like 5 seconds and said, the motherboard's out. Didn't open the case, didn't test anything, didn't even try to turn it on.
Wow.
And his examination said the motherboard's out.
Didn't even turn it on.
I asked, how long was he here? How did he make this determination? Oh, he walked in, looked at it, and said the motherboard's out. So anyway, they called me because they didn't believe him. I come out, looked at it. I said, I think it's a power supply. I had one with me, changed it, booted up, it's fine. Half hour minimum plus the power supply. But he was giving them a quote for $1,200 for a new computer
Yeah.
because he wouldn't sell the computer.
Yep. And that right there just takes one time for a situation like Matt, for a customer to go through, and where Matt walks away, he tells them, you know, have a good day, and they go, man, that guy knows his stuff.
Right.
Just that one time, got a customer for life.
But she's still using that person because
I retract my statement.
it's not common though. Usually they will say, well, wait a minute, this guy seems to know more. But and this is the kind of customer you don't really want though, because she only sees the money she's paying. She's not seeing the value. She'd rather give him trade dollars.
Let her have them then. She
Jeez.
can't
That's-
see the value of
And
that.
that's the kind of customers you don't want. I showed them what they could get, and the girl I know occasionally calls me asking me computer questions
Yeah.
to try and get, and basically she's wanting free consulting for the business she works at. And I know her. She's a friend, and I tell her I'm happy to help you.
Love how Matt said that. She's a friend.
If you
Oh,
want
that's
the
it.
Matt Rainey gold customer service, you need to jump on board with the Matt Rainey
Right.
team.
Right now, you're the rust level.
The rust level.
So I'm happy to help you. Have your boss give me a call so we can talk about it. And I never get a call from the boss.
Help me help you.
Because if the boss does call me, that's what I'm going to say. We can come out and do some consulting if you need. Our rate is this. And then I'm going to let her
Sell him
decide.
some trade dollars. Tell him you'll coach his kids or something from soccer.
I'll do trade work. I'll trade my work for money.
There you go.
All right, should I read some emails, Matt?
Yep.
All right, here we go. This is from George. He says, "Hey, Steve, I was emailing in regards to a question asked on Podnutz Pro number 14 about the Verizon Action Tech router." Remember, some guy emailed and wanted to... He said the person was asking how to get it so they could still use their on-demand and use a different router. Now, I've only done it twice, and it's probably not the best way, but it was how I did it. I put the used... He says, the used my router for taking the service from the wall. Okay, he used his router for taking the service from the wall. The Action Tech, I disabled the DHCP and I gave it a static IP address and connected a cable from my router to the Action Tech router. I can get the settings if Bob, the guy who wrote the email was Bob, I can get the settings if Bob needed them, but I didn't know if it was better to send an email to you or to which forum was the best to put it in. That's from George. So I said, George, thanks for the email. The problem with Bob's question is that he left me a wrong email address, so I couldn't get back to him. I'll read your email on the next show and see if we get any response from Bob. Thanks for the help. And George says, cool, I did post the exact settings in the forum, too, in the network section. Unfortunately, you're kind of stuck with it if you have Fios TV service and their garbage. Thanks for the show and everything. That's from George. So George trying to help out Bob. Well, thank you, George. I really appreciate it. Now, Bob, I tried to send an email to Bob, but he sent me a wrong email address. Let me clarify. His email address is bob1@yahoo.com. It came back rejected. Anyway, I get an email from Bob today, 9 hours ago, and he says, on that last episode of Podnutz Daily you did, which was the Call That Girl was on, he's like, on that Call That Girl show, you said you always read the emails that come in. Well, I sent one in with a link to help others, and you did not. You moron. People will always get a big head after a while. Bob. And that's bob1@yahoo.com. He writes me this. So bob1@yahoo.com, I tried emailing you, bud. You sent me a wrong email address, but I guess I'm just too much of a moron that I couldn't figure it out or couldn't read your stupid little mind or something. So...
He blacklisted you, Steve. Maybe that's what happened.
No, I emailed him instantly. I do answer my emails, but I'm happy that bob1@yahoo.com didn't get my email because bob1@yahoo.com does not deserve my email.
You should email him now live to get a kickback. Let's prove your point.
No, Bob1 should not listen to any more Podnutz shows, and nobody should help bob1@yahoo.com for anything.
Wow.
All right.
See, that's why you don't have written signed contracts. You can break the arrangement if you want to.
I could break the contract of, yes, I answer every email that I get. All right. Well, thank you, George, for trying to help him.
And I will add, when we do go to the Waffle House, this man brings either his MacBook or he has like 8 laptops right behind me, and while we're having coffee or whatever, he's answering emails.
Definitely.
I'm a witness to it. So.
Thanks. All right, let's see what else we got here. We got George is there. This is a voicemail. And here we go with the voicemail. Gonna play it now. As soon as I get that set up, and here we go.
Hey, Podnutz Pro crew. Hey, I just want to give you a very big thank you for the absolutely excellent, wonderful shows. I can't tell you how great it is being able to listen to these shows on a regular basis and getting wonderful tips from you guys. So thank you very much for that. I was wondering if you guys had any good tips on how to, start doing documentation for your small business clients that you support. What are the best documentation practice methods that you guys have created over the years? Do you do it, pen and paper in some kind of binder that you create and then leave with the clients? You do it all on text files and put it on a specific server, that kind of thing. I mean, what kind of good tips do you have for starting and keeping up with documentation for your small business and clients of that nature? So thank you very much again. This is Kevin with the Computer Doctor in Richmond. Appreciate everything you guys do. Nice.
Thank you. Guys, what do you say?
Well, we just have on our server a folder named clients. And there we have a folder for every client, just text documents or Word documents or anything related to that customer in that folder. If I order, if I have a licensing on PDF or there's semantic license or Trend Micro license, I throw a copy in there. Text document if for any passwords or any notes, router, config files. It's just in their folder. Now, we just started with ConnectWise, so we're going to be moving some stuff into ConnectWise just to look up client information in ConnectWise itself. But we've been just having it on a folder on the server.
Cool. Good. Anything on this, Lalo?
Yeah, I also did the same thing. I had a folder with the client's name, and I had a folder for invoices. If I had a backup, I had a folder for backup, any type of licenses that they had, or also my invoices were like a spreadsheet, so I would keep a copy of that on there too. For remote jobs, I don't know if you're asking about this or not, I used to use LogMeIn. What's nice about LogMeIn that a lot of people are not aware of, it does have a report feature. So if I did a job for Steve remotely, with the invoice, I would print out the report, and it tells you exactly when I remoted in, for how long, if I was in there for 2 or 3 hours. It gives the client a good idea of how long you were in the PC. But
LogMeIn Free does that?
Yes, it does.
Wow.
Now I will tell you, by default, it defaults to the Greenwich time, which sounds really mean to me for some reason. But if for me, we're on the East Coast, I had to change that to my time zone.
Greenwich.
So if you leave it on Greenwich, which is fine if you're in that time zone, it gives funky time. So make sure you change that time zone. But it's in LogMeIn Free. I'll check it out. It's pretty cool.
Awesome. Thank you, guys. Thank you for the email or voicemail. This is from Jeff, Steve, Matt, and Lalo. I was listening to Podnutz Pro, and I wanted to share this story. My boss is an executive vice president. You will not maintain job security if you make a vice president look stupid. I work at a mid-sized manufacturer of automotive fasteners. Once, after I returned from a vacation day, he comes to me right away. His HP printer has the trouble light on, and it won't print. He told me that he shook the toner a few times, but it still would not print. I asked him if he tried printing from just Excel or Word, and he says yes, but it still would not print. This guy's usually pretty computer literate, but to be sure, I asked him if he had paper in it. He said yes, it was full of paper, but he had to print to a different network printer all day the day before. So I pulled the paper out of the tray, looking for a jam. It was empty. I told him the raw material had insufficient supply to produce an acceptable output. I loaded it with paper and it started printing. He told me that I was a genius. This sounds so much better than telling your boss that it was out of paper. So he told him the raw material had insufficient supply to produce acceptable output. Well stated, Jeff.
Yeah, sounds like a Dilbert right there.
That's Jeff, who is Black Hammer.
Yes, with everything that you do, for those of y'all that have certification and have a degree, the OSI model, the first layer, start at the physical layer. Start at the most basic stuff. Don't assume anything. I can't tell you how many times I've gone all hardcore and I go over, the thing's not even freaking plugged in. And so start at the most basic level. And like he said in the email, don't
make people look stupid.
Do not, because sometimes you are the one that looks dumb, and then that really sucks. But
good point.
But good way to handle that situation.
Yeah, there's probably a lot of stories from this guy. If he thinks you're a genius for putting paper in it, he probably has a lot of computer issues that would make good stories.
Yes, and let me just finish that saying I hate capital letters printers. I hate printers. Hate them.
Why? They're just too flaky.
Well, they're flaky, and there's no standard across the board. And then luckily, where I work as an all HP shop, so it's all but the same manufacturer. But my past shop, they have every manufacturer underneath the book, different error codes, and
yeah, pain in the butt.
Yeah, I hate printers also.
We should get bumper stickers that say we hate printers. Jason writes, just listen to your latest Podnutz Pro. I'm backing up, and I wanted to comment. I worked for Geek Squad for 4 years, and yes, we still cannot order parts. We either had the customer buy it and bring it in, or we sent the unit off for repairs. If you ever need to know about Geek Squad training and service, I was the trainer for 2 years before moving on and opened up my own shop. Not embarrassed to have worked for Best Buy, the Geek Squad. Still have many good friends / techs that work for them. But the level of service we had to provide was below standard. Thanks for letting me rant. Love the podcast. You have inspired me to push myself and business into reality. Many thanks. That's Jason with iGeek PC Repair.
There you go. And I will tell you, I had mentioned this before, but I used to work for a Best Buy for about 4.5 years before the Geek Squad, from 1997 to 2001, and it was a good experience for me. This was back when it was all about customer satisfaction. I got pissed off when they wanted to sell Grandma, which was at the time a $4,000 PC. It was all about the warranty. And
wait a minute, it was all about customer satisfaction in the past?
yes, when I was in charge of they call it services supervisor. We had the black shirts, and our goal, well, my goal, depending on the store, was maybe $200 or $400 a day. That was the goal. Then they said, since you're the computer guys and people trust you, we want you to sell the warranties. We want you to sell the stupid Earthlink magazine subscriptions, and it just drove me nuts. I can't, you know, I'm ethical. You know what I'm saying? 80-year-old grandma did not need a $4,000 Pentium 3. I mean,
right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's where it all just went straight downhill. So,
dude, let me just tell a quick thing here. I just bought a new laptop. Sorry, Matt. And from CompUSA. And I went in there, I bought the thing, and I told him, I'm like, sorry, I'm not going to get any of the extra stuff. And, you know, he's like, well, what about warranty? No, all that stuff. And he was visibly upset that I bought this computer without buying anything else, because he works on commission. He didn't make any money. Yep. Visibly upset at me. So CompUSA can put a price tag on this piece of junk and say, we're going to sell you this, but our salesmen are going to be pissed if you don't buy more than just this. I mean, come on. He wasn't mean like you suck, but he was just like, oh, God, he was upset that I did that. And that's not the way I should have left that freaking store.
No,
that's so pissed
I agree.
off.
And that same CompUSA, not to get off the boat here, has a 4 big screen, the TVs. The one in the Tampa store is half the price. Come to find out, they add the warranty price to CompUSA here.
Yes, they do.
Screw you.
Was this the end of the month that you went there, Steve? Because maybe he had to meet his quota, and it was the last day to meet his quota, and he was out of there.
No, it was a couple days ago, and I don't care if it was the last minute of the month. I should not be feel sorry or bad or have any misemotion about buying a computer from a store.
I agree. When I used to work for Best Buy, and I asked that question one time, I go, do you know the benefits of the warranty? If they told me no, I was done. I did not send, you know, Paul from the other department, because people get annoyed. If I want to buy a warranty, I want to buy a damn laptop. Right. Go to a Waffle House and have some coffee. That's all I want to do.
The best way to sell those laptops at Best Buy or whatever is tell them, this cheap piece of junk will break. So if you have the warranty, they'll fix it. If not, you're screwed.
It's true.
No.
It's true. Well, they make you at Best Buy stand in the line to see the Geek Squad now before you buy a computer. And sometimes they'll take it and they'll start to open the box. I'm like, do not open my box. Don't touch it. Give me it and let me just pay. Like, why is it so hard to pay you guys?
Why do they want to open it?
I don't know.
They put their antivirus and stuff like that on it. But this guy said, I'm like, yeah, you guys don't make any money if I buy these computers without any stuff. He goes, it's worse than that. I'm like, you lose money? And he's like, well, so I said, well, you shouldn't sell it for that price. If you're going to lose money, you shouldn't sell it for that price.
I agree. And
stupid.
Another quick little story, and I got my brother a job at the Best Buy I was working with, and he used to work in appliances, and this guy was he was a salesman. So if you didn't buy a warranty on the air conditioner, he would get on a ladder and put a second one in. And I had witnessed this. And the customer goes, no, but I want one. Why are you putting two? Because, well, after the first one breaks, now you have the second one.
Really?
He would do that all the time. Or he would let the customer to where I was. That's my brother. He fixed this stuff. Ask him about the warranty. I'm like, dude, stop doing that. I'm going to beat you up in the Best Buy store. It's funny.
That's great.
Sorry.
Back to that email, I wonder if that has changed, because I've had customers bring me parts as they said Best Buy Geek Squad wouldn't change it. They had a notebook. They bought the keyboard. They brought it to Geek Squad. Wanted them to change the keyboard. They said, no, we can't do it. We can't take parts from customers.
That might be. That might be. You know, I bet you it is, because they're worried their techs will break the part the customer bought. I don't know.
But you would think that they would still charge you for the labor and say, look, if your part that you brought us is broken, you know, tough, and you still got to pay us. You know?
They might have had some bad experiences where they lost out. Who knows?
But I would say that some stores seems to play by a different set of rules depending on the staff they have, and
really?
how talented they are. Because back in the day, which was a Tuesday, for me, certain stores got more networking the customers because their staff, knew more about switches and routers than some stores, But
I thought it was very cookie cutter, but
long time ago.
All right, let me play this last voicemail. This is from Kevin. I actually like this one.
All right.
And playing it now.
Hey, Steve. This is Kevin Adair from Akron, Ohio, and Top to Top Pros. Just wanted to say that I just got done listening to Pro number 17, and I was so happy, just so glad that you brought Mary back. I really miss Mary. Can we have some more Mary, please? I'm just kidding. Enjoy the show. Keep up the great work, guys. Thanks.
I'm with Kevin. He says he likes when Mary's on the show.
I love Mary.
I think Mary was on this show, wasn't she? Did I talk about Mary?
Yes.
Yeah,
I was happy you did that.
She was getting the hand-me-down computer from Jane or Bob or somebody.
Yeah. No, when we make Podnutz Pro T-shirts, which I will, I think I'm going to do a cafe press site. I think I was looking into it last night, so it might actually get done. I'm definitely going to put make a Podnutz Pro shirt, and then maybe on the back I'm going to put "We love Mary" or something like that on, or "We heart Mary."
We
hate
Mary.
printers.
Yes.
We hate printers.
I
We hate printers, and we love Mary. We hate printers.
I hate printers. I mean, I cringe when I get like a ticket on my phone and it says printer is not working. I do a Matt rating. Are you ready?
So
That's what I do.
he just did it.
That's what I do.
Oh man!
When I get a call that comes in, printer not working, I just give it to one by the text. Hey, that printer's not working.
That's great. I do a Matt Rainey. Yeah. Well, thank you for the voicemail, Kevin. We're all happy to have Mary back.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
That is going to be it, guys. Matt,
Wasn't there? There was one email you sent. I like that email. I want to talk about that email.
Yeah, which
Who
one?
sent that? Who sent? Let me see. It was one about what you wear to work.
Oh yes.
I didn't read that.
No.
I like that. I like that.
Oh, yeah, I definitely will read it. I did not. I must have. I don't know what happened to that.
Of course, as usual, you don't read your emails.
I'm telling you, I'm such a moron. Matt, can you send it to me like instantly, fast? Is it possible?
Instantly fast, quick, fast, and in a hurry. Let's see if I have it.
Or maybe Matt can read it.
I remember the context. You want me to read it?
Sure.
Oh yeah, you can read it. Sure.
Okay. This is from Dave. Dave writes.
It's like Dear Abby.
I have a question that I am not sure about. It's not really a tech question. I have been fixing computers in a shop for well over 7 years now, as well as my web hosting business. What I want to know is, what do you wear as techs going into businesses? Do businesses like to see techs in jeans with polo shirts with their name on it, or do they like to see the shirt and tie job? That was from Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave. Definitely, I'm a jeans and polo shirt guy. And on Fridays, usually jeans and t-shirt. I like to go and sport in my Apple t-shirt sometimes.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah. Now, we also have company t-shirts, company polo shirts. So their logo, we have our logo on it. It's a polo shirt with our logo. We have shirts with our logo. I've never had anybody complain about showing up with jeans and a shirt. And if they did complain, I would let them know. I'm crawling under desks. I'm hauling computers. I'm hauling printers. This is not a tie and shirt, slacks and tie kind of job. I've had meetings with lawyers that I know is just consulting. I'll put jeans and a shirt on. I think I've worn a tie once and realized I shouldn't have worn a tie.
Realized I shouldn't have worn a tie.
Yeah, it was too late. It was a clip-on. I could have took it off. I didn't.
Lalo, anything on this?
Yes, I kind of have a different train of thought on this. If it's a brand new client, I always wear khakis and a polo because appearance is everything. Once I get comfortable, then I get jeans and a polo. But it's just me. Like for the first time, I just wear always a polo shirt and I wear some khakis. I wear earrings. I have tattoos. Do not wear earrings. Do not show your tattoos. I don't care how cool they are. I love to show them off. I love my earrings, but I just don't wear them. Professional. You need to look professional. In fact, my boss now, just to second razz her, I ask her if I can wear my earrings, and she says, "I will send you home if you'll come to work with your earrings." So, image is everything, especially when you first meet the customers. As sad as that sounds, people will judge you. So, let's make sure you look nice and get a haircut.
He's
Nice.
Right.
Please.
You definitely got to be groomed. You can't go there. I mean, personally, scraggy hair, unshaven,
Right.
kind of thing.
And I've seen it. Look nice and clean cut. And when you see them, good eye contact, shake their hand. I mean, all this stuff counts, you know. So when you walk away and all right, man, cool.
Right.
That guy's a professional.
Right.
And a lot of the customers we deal with are oil field or oil field related. There's not one person, and this is just customers that where Lalo does business may be different. There's not one person in the building wearing slacks and a tie in the buildings that we go in. They're all oil field guys, machine shop guys. You know, there's CPAs and accountants. Yeah, they're wearing that stuff. For the majority, they're jeans and shirts guys.
Really.
So
Yes. And you are
it
right.
all depends on what you're doing.
Yes, and my past job, there were a bunch of engineers that went to the field. So there, I was able to wear jeans and a polo shirt. So again, what Matt's saying is totally correct. It's all on the environment that you work in. So
Yeah, and the few times that I wear slacks and a polo shirt sometimes, and the few times I've worn the slacks is initial contact for if I'm going to a new CPA firm, new law firm, I do wear the slacks but I do wear slacks and a polo shirt. I don't do the tie thing.
I don't know about you, and I see Matt with like a clipboard and like a whistle and shades, chewing gum like the coach, Mike Ditka.
Mike did.
I should bring a whistle to my jobs. When I see that you're doing something wrong, I just blow the whistle real loud. Stop. But and I have actually shown up at clients' offices in shorts, but that's another story.
I didn't do a lot of businesses. I did a couple, but I used to wear like sweatpants. I looked like a slob. It was my weak. It was my weak spot. I admit.
Sweatpants and sandals?
No, not sandals. Not sandals.
The
No.
tank top.
I wore sweatpants and sneakers, like, and a t-shirt. But the sweatpants were ripped in multiple places.
Oh, please tell me
Yeah.
there was ice on the cake. You were smoking like a cigarette.
No. In fact, the sweatpants were stapled where they were ripped.
Oh,
I
Steve,
stapled them
Steve.
fixed.
Don't tell
Well, at
me
least you try to make it look better.
No, I'm not saying that they should do this. This is how bad I was. There's room for improvement.
No.
The room for improvement.
And when I wore shorts, I've been driving. I was driving one time on a fishing trip. I'm on vacation. I'm driving to it's a fishing place 3.5 hours away, and I just happened to get a call from a customer who's right where I'm going. We don't go on site often. They called. I said I can come. I'm on vacation. I can stop by. I'm passing really right in front of your building if you want me to. I warned them on vacation, so I'm in vacation clothes. Oh, no problem at all. So I have been a few times in shorts and flip-flops to clients' offices, but they were prepared.
Yeah,
And
if
I'm
they're
vacation.
prepared. That's,
right, right, and that's totally different. And because I've been in the same boat where I had a day off and I was going to the beach, and and they call me in, and I love the reaction when you walk in and you're wearing like sandals and like a tank top, and my tattoos are showing. They go, "Oh, you had a day off?" Yeah, buddy.
This is our new dress code.
Exactly.
Get used to it.
Get used to it. Awesome.
All right, Matt, anything you want to say to the folks before we end off?
Well, we did get some good reviews on iTunes. I want to thank everybody for that.
Thank you. Thank
Ooh,
you.
I didn't check that. I always do check, but I haven't checked lately, so thank you for that.
And whoever has not had time for that, if you could find time for leave some positive feedback for this show and any Podnutz show.
Thank you, Matt.
Be good for Podnutz.
Definitely. And even if you don't get the shows from iTunes, it's like the I don't know, it's like the de facto standard for podcasts.
Yeah.
It's like helps. It
Yeah,
helps.
if you've got some weird device like a Droid or something else, still try and get into iTunes.
I knew that he's gonna work that droid into every
Still
show.
try and get into
Seriously.
iTunes.
I had to handle. I do want to end off the show, but you brought it up. I had to handle an Applebee's manager who came over to me, and I was using my Mac. I was writing a Word document or Pages document on the Mac, and he comes over. He's like, "Oh, there's a Mac," and you know how the managers come when you're in a restaurant. The managers come over and ask you how you're doing. Well, he was just making conversation. He's like, "I got a Mac." He's like, "I was thinking about getting one. I have an iPhone, and I was thinking about getting the Mac." And I'm like, "You definitely should get one and try it out and see if you like it." And then he goes, "Yeah, my wife's got an Android phone." He's like, "I'm always teasing her because it can't do anything, and you know she goes into Android market and there's nothing there." And I'm like, "Dude, do you know that her phone could do more than your iPhone?" "What? What do you mean?" I'm like, "You can do a lot more on an Android phone than you can on an iPhone." And he's like, "Well, maybe I'll trade with her then." So we'll see what he does.
You have to unlock the potential. That's right.
Yes.
Go Android. Yay. I love it.
A little
All
sarcasm.
right. Enough of Matt.
I know.
Lalo, how about you?
You can find me at betterpctech.com. Last week, I told everyone I was upgrading with the videos, so you already bought them. They'll be free. I asked for user input, and last week I got 98 emails. So keep them coming. I got this gigantic whiteboard at home that it just looks like mad. Just scientists have arrows and all type of crazy stuff. So anything that you might want to see or include, let me know, and I'm gonna take the most submitted stuff, and I'll definitely will include those in the videos. Some of the stuff was very creative. I won't divulge my I just leave you in suspense till they come out. So.
You got 98 emails?
Yes.
Damn. Good job.
And thank you for all the kind words, and I got real good emails that made me feel good. So appreciate it.
Nice.
Thanks,
It's all about making Lalo feel good.
It is, because if not, I will come and hunt you down.
All right.
I'm just saying.
All right. Well, that's I want to thank everybody for watching and listening to the show.
Thank you very much.
It was awesome. I hope you guys had a good time, learned a lot, and that's going to be it for Podnutz Pro for this week. We will see you next time.